Unwavering Focus. What I've done is I've taken a handful of quotes from Neville Goddard and Paramahansa Yogananda, and I want to discuss the concept of focus. But I want to look at it from a different perspective. I'm not talking about the kind of focus where you put some tools or things in the external world in place so you can get yourself to pay attention to what is important to create what you desire. I'm talking about recalibrating the mind, evolving perspective, values and beliefs, and identity within to the point where you have automatic focus on all that is harmonious to what you create. One of my favorite concepts I mentioned is the burning desire and the definite chief aim, as well as definiteness of purpose, which I had learned from Napoleon Hill. Definite chief aim is something that I've always had in my life, and every single definite chief aim I was able to bring forth. In the process, I've developed an ability to have unwavering focus on creating what I desire. And anytime my focus is distorted or goes in a direction that's undesirable, I don't try to change the circumstance, the people, environment, or anything in the external world. I've learned to go and change the cause within. When you change the cause within, as in your imagination, your mind, what you focus on changes. What you choose to put your attention on is different. And if you've tuned it to be harmonious to your vision, your definite chief aim, to what you want to create, then you will cultivate definiteness of purpose. The realization that everything, everyone, all information, all circumstance, all environment is a contributing factor to helping you realize your definite chief aim. This is how you develop the burning desire. As I discussed in the last video, desires are important. If you never had any desires, then you wouldn't get out of bed any morning. You wouldn't do what you want to do, and you wouldn't want to create what you want to create. We all have desires. What we want to do is we want to understand our desires. Desires are an important element that determine where our focus goes, what we focus on. Now, we might have harmonious meaning when it comes to desires, or we might have inharmonious meaning. All this meaning has been stored in the subconscious mind based on past experiences, past information, past meaning that we have been giving to 5 sensory data that we've accumulated over our lifetime. One of the steps that we have to take on this journey for developing unwavering focus is to take inventory of the different distractions and the different meaning we are giving to different people, environments, circumstance, and information that causes us to lose focus and say, where did this meaning come from? What you'll find is that desire has been associated with certain meaning that is inharmonious to the vision that you want to create. And you can change this meaning around via subconscious programming. You can understand your desires, and as mentioned in the last video, you cannot repress your desires, because if you repress them, they'll eventually surface in some shape or form, probably in a way that's inharmonious, because you have been consciously or subconsciously suppressing them, repressing them. So we want to understand our desires and realize that desire is life. And with our desires, we can bring forth a harmonious reality. We can create what we want, and we can benefit our lives, others' lives, evolution, and divine, all by working with the power of desire. So I recommend you watch that video. Now, focus, as mentioned, is mostly governed by our subconscious. When someone says, I have an inability to focus, my immediate understanding of what they're saying is that it is not true. They have an ability to focus. The question is, what are they focusing on? What they're really saying is that they're focusing on something that they choose not to consciously focus on, yet subconsciously they're focusing on that. And the focus is an expression of the desire that they have, or it's a desire looking to express itself in some external world, circumstance, people, environment, experience, information. And as a result of that experience or that expression, they may or may not enjoy the fruits of the results of where their focus had gone on. And it may not be harmonious to their definite chief aim, the goal, the vision, the desire they want to create. Now, rather than looking at ourselves through these kinds of experiences and shaming ourselves, making us feel guilty, I believe it's important to understand ourselves, to realize that most of us is subconscious, and only a small percentage of us is conscious. And the more we can understand the manifestations of the subconscious mind, the better we can go in and change the meaning, the beliefs within, the identity within, so that the desires can be expressed. And the focus, what we call focus, is on the related elements to our definite chief aim or our vision. Neville Goddard says, with your eyes closed and your physical body immobilized, induce a state akin to sleep and enter into the action as though you were an actor playing the part. Experience in imagination what you would experience in the flesh were you now in possession of your objective. Make elsewhere here and then now, and the greater you, using a larger focus, will use all means and call them good, which tend toward the production of that what you have assumed. Most of us believe that the real world that has control over us is the external world. The truth is that's a choice. In earlier stages, we might not believe it's a choice. We believe the external world has the power, and the imagination is not as impactful or as impressive on creating our reality as the external world. After all, we navigate reality via the external world. The truth is that the external world has been created by the inner world. And most of us, until we hit a certain level of understanding, navigate reality based on 5 sensory data and meaning that is a net result of other people's thinking. Now, it's not so much the 5 sensory data, it's the meaning that we associate. And where do we get our meaning from? What other people give to us. This meaning may or may not be harmonious, but we have the power to change it. And what we want to do is go into our imagination and change the meaning to be harmonious to the desires, that what we want to create, bringing forth our vision. We do this by first realizing that the imagination has the ability to impress the subconscious mind, just like 5 sensory data impresses the subconscious mind. You've got your conscious mind, you've got your subconscious mind. What you put your attention on, what you focus on, impresses itself on the subconscious mind, along with the meaning you give to those experiences. And the subconscious mind goes and recreates those experiences again and again and again in some shape or form. What we want to understand here is that we have the power to impress the subconscious mind via the imagination, using imaginal acts, affirmations. And by practice, we can develop ourselves to have a greater ability to impress our subconscious mind with the world within versus the world without, as in the external world. Now, if you do this, what you'll notice, as Neville says, is that you are using your imagination to impress the subconscious mind, and then from there, your attention will go on to what is harmonious and what is related as the means. You'll notice this in the thoughts that you have, the emotions that you have, and the actions that you take. A lot of them will become automatic to create and bring forth what you desire. There are 2 actual outlooks on the world possessed by everyone, a natural focus and a spiritual focus. The ancient teachers called the one the carnal mind. Okay, that would be the natural focus. And the other mind is the mind of Christ, spiritual focus. We may differentiate them as ordinary waking consciousness, governed by our senses, and a controlled imagination governed by desire. So in other words, we can be governed by our senses, and what we receive with our senses impresses our subconscious mind and expresses outwards, and our attention and focus goes there. What are we creating? Many of us look at the external world and observe what is being created and say, it's the external world that's doing this to me, causing me to lose focus. The truth is that we are the cause of the loss of focus, the lack of focus. The cause is within. Now, not to shame ourselves, but rather to understand ourselves, that if we consciously choose to impress our imagination with the desired outcome and reflect and meditate upon it and visualize it on a regular basis, what we will find is our attention and awareness will go on to what is harmonious. Now, this is not just for the definite chief aim. or what you want to create. But I believe it's important to do this with all related aspects of that reality. For example, if your goal is to become a successful entrepreneur, and that's what I focus on, it's important to visualize and imagine the outcome, the success that you want to create. And realize then that there's many aspects to entrepreneurship. Language skills, public speaking skills, selling skills, marketing skills, innovation, operations, leadership, a lot of different elements that make up entrepreneurship. The goal then is to keep your attention on learning, studying, and doing these things, and have that information impress the subconscious mind. And then what will happen is that information will go into the other parts of what you imagine as far as the outcome, and connect and combine to give you ideas, hunches, inspirations, as you continue down this process from a place of flow. One of my favorite books, and I talk about this a lot, is Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. The idea is that flow is where challenge meets skill. In other words, you experience in reality challenges. You could say one of the challenges is lack of focus. And rather than being overwhelmed by it, you're stimulated by it. You're excited by it. And you say, I want to overcome this challenge. And right then and there, an idea, a hunch, an inspiration shows up, a unique way of going about doing things that helps you overcome that challenge. Might be doing something in the external world. Most likely, it's a change of perspective, or you will attract a piece of information like this that helps you change your perspective. And as a result of changing the world within, you'll find yourself automatically doing and choosing to do what is harmonious to create what you desire. Now, you do this with repetition until you have realized your vision. And this process, over and over again, puts you in a state of flow. Flow is where you are navigating reality from a sense of joy, passion, excitement. You enjoy what you're doing. Everything has purpose. You have definiteness of purpose, and you feel it. Now, as a result of submerging yourself in the process, you are experiencing 5 sensory data. This 5 sensory data is related to all that you do, which is with flow, or the different tasks that you do, the different information that you pay attention to, which is related to your definite chief aim. And this impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind expresses over and over again. And as the subconscious mind expresses, you start to have realizations about how everything in reality is actually contributing. Your way of thinking starts to change. Now, as I communicate to you about this, I'm reflecting back on my own experience. There was a time in my life when I first set my definite chief aim and brought it forth, that I realized that there was a lot that was harmonious to helping me bring it forth. Synchronicities, different kinds of experiences and opportunities showed up to help me bring forth my definite chief aim. I then also realized that by submerging myself, a lot of times automatically, just by having the desire, imagining what I wanted to create, I found myself involved with people, environment, circumstance, and information that was harmonious. I would choose it automatically. This information would go in and impress my subconscious mind, and I would recreate more of the external world that would be related. And before you know it, unique ways, ideas, hunches, experiences, synchronicities would show up to help me bring forth the definite chief aim. Little did I know in the process that I was developing definiteness of purpose, the unconscious ability to link everything to a goal or a definite chief aim or a desire, the ability to rewrite meaning of what you experience via 5 sensory data, rewrite it in a way that supports you, empowers you, uplifts you, and projects you forward harmoniously towards your definite chief aim. In other words, the statement that I say that when you create a desire or a definite chief aim, the entire world is helping you bring it forth. People, environment, circumstance, information reveals to you about what's in your mind for evolving, for adjusting as far as cause within goes. And then you express outwards through thoughts, emotions, actions, behaviors, habits to materialize as a result of that linking. A lot of times nowadays happens unconsciously. I don't really think about it. Automatically. Now, what this is called is focusing on your desire. remaining and having unwavering focus. Now, this is not done from a place of force. There might be things that I might do, there might be tools and certain things that I do, but those are a manifestation of the unwavering focus, which is a net result, the repetition of consciously creating success or results over and over again. This is why it's important to have a desire and commit to bringing it forth, staying committed all the way till the end, till you bring it forth. It's not just a bringing it forth, it's who you become in the journey. What you release from your subconscious mind that is inharmonious, that causes you to be distracted, loses focus. And what you choose to then identify with, associate with, which is supportive, including the paramount belief that all people, environment, circumstance, and information is harmonious and contributing to your definite chief aim. Even if you don't see how, you can create the meaning, you can find the meaning how, and it's all in the world within. Now, there is something in you that has never taken his eyes off the face of the Father and will not deviate until you are perfect. In the meantime, it casts its shadow and you play the part of a bum, a part necessary to bring the image into focus. Then it will cast another image and yet another until you are perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. We were created in the image of the Creator. We were born to create, and it is what we desire to do. Happiness is found through purpose. All happiness is found within and is found through purpose. I'll speak from experience on this. When I have the most happiness in my life, I have the most purpose. I have definiteness of purpose. As a result, the external world reflects the happiness as I share it with people, environment, circumstance. That is a net result of the happiness within. And purpose is moving towards a destination. Napoleon Hill talks about this in Outwitting the Devil. I recommend you watch that video. I did a discussion on his book. The opposite of purpose is drifting. Drifting is then causing you to have experiences in reality where that information is impressing on the subconscious mind, and you continuously materialize external world experiences, people, environment, circumstance that reflect the drifting within. What is drifting? Aimlessness and not having a purpose. It's not just the desires that you want to bring forth. It is the ability to create that you want to continuously cultivate, because that is why we are here. We're here to create. That's where the most happiness lies. We learn, we go through stages where we accumulate information so that we can create. And when we say we have a desire and we apply these concepts here, our life becomes more meaningful. Neville says, do not wait 4 months for the harvest. Today is the day to practice and control and discipline of your imagination, applying what we're talking about. So you don't wait till the end, but you can practice every day, assuming that you have what you desire through practice, by what you put your attention on, the meaning that you give to the different people, environments, circumstance, and information that shows up, by adjusting it within, by taking inspired action to the desire, by paying attention to the synchronicities that show up, by asking yourself, am I being purposeful with everything? Am I seeing all of reality as harmonious and related to bringing forth my definite chief aim? Man is only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination. All of this that I'm sharing with you are concepts that I came up with in my imagination. I went in and said, what are all the areas that causes me to lose focus on the desires that I want to bring forth? Knowing that if I keep my mind on my desire, it will be brought forth. Behaviors will change. Emotions will change. The world will evolve. Everything will change, and it will be brought forth. And it's not just the bringing forth. That's very important to me. It's who I become in the journey. The ability to have control of my mind. That's what this is all about here. It's about having control of your mind, your ability to choose consciously what you want to create and realize that all the power is within. And if power is experienced in the external world to having control over you, that's because we gave the power away within, and we can change that through meaning. The great secret is a controlled imagination and a well-sustained attention firmly and repeatedly focused on the objective to be accomplished. As a result of staying focused on the objective to be accomplished, reality changes, environments change, behaviors change, emotions change. And if there's inharmonious or elements in the external world that we experience as loss of focus, we have to remember that the cause is within. We are creating that. Our attention is going there. And what is it about our desire that wants to express itself that's been distorted by meaning within the subconscious mind that is causing us to focus in that direction? And how can we change that within via subconscious mind reconditioning? Men believe in the reality of the external world because they do not know how to focus and condense their powers to penetrate its thin crust. Strangely enough, it is not difficult to penetrate this view of the senses. To remove the veil of the senses, we do not employ great effort. The objective world vanishes as we turn our attention from it. See, we turn our attention away from it and we focus on the desire. This is why when I was going through The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale back in 2007, he recommended keeping a card of your definite chief aim. And anytime you found your attention going into a direction where you were dwelling on something negative, all you had to do is pull that card out and read it. And then go into your imagination, and right then and there, it would recalibrate your subconscious mind and send you in the direction that was harmonious. Recalibrate your focus. Remember, most of our ability to maintain focus is found in the subconscious. Now, the beautiful thing about this, as I said, you create over and over again, and in the process, you recondition your subconscious mind for automatic focus. You become a lot more of a focused person, and this is not done from a place of force. This is lighthearted focus. This is focus from a place of flow. This is not forceful focus. It's unwavering focus. It cannot be detached from the vision. That's because it is rooted deeply in the subconscious, and everything is seen and assumed and realized to be harmonious within and supportive of the definite chief aim through definiteness of purpose. I recommend you watch that video I did on definiteness of purpose. I'll put a link in the description. We have only to concentrate on the state desired to mentally see it, but to give it reality to it so that it will become an objective fact, we must focus our attention upon the desired state until it has all the sensory vividness and feeling of reality. See, when we focus and impress our imagination through visualization, through affirmation, by meditating and visualizing in state akin to sleep, what we want to create, we impress our subconscious mind. And we have a greater ability to impress our subconscious mind with our imagination than 5 sensory data has power over us to impress the subconscious mind. We give the power away. We assume that the external world has more power to impress our subconscious mind, but that's not true. You can believe it if it's true, and it'll be true. Whatever you believe, it shall be done unto you. As you believe, so it shall be done unto you. So you can choose then to believe that you have the power within your mind to direct it towards what is harmonious, what is related to bringing forth your desire. And then you'll realize that you will automatically choose to focus on certain things in the external world. The more vividness we can experience in our imagination, the more harmonious we feel with our vision, the desire we want to create, the automatically we will find ourselves, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, manifesting accordingly, our attention going in the right direction. This will repeat itself, and what is being expressed in the external world will further impress the subconscious mind over and over again till the desire is brought forth. Yogananda says, every activity requires a certain amount of concentration, and no effective action can be performed without deep concentration. So then, we must look at all the things that we have to do, all the inspired action that we have to take from a place of practice of concentration. If something takes our attention away, we must recalibrate that attention back onto what we are doing. That's why I recommend using concepts like Pomodoro timer, where you can sit for 25 to 30 minutes at a time and focus on one thing till completion. This is why meditation is really important. What we're doing is we're training our mind for concentration. This is part of it. What we want is alignment physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And when in alignment, we maintain focus. There are physical aspects, emotional aspects, mental aspects. These aspects, mental, emotional, and physical, the neurology, is trained, reconditioned through purposeful concentration on specific tasks for a period of time, maintaining it till completion. Practice. Now, as mentioned, I've brought forth many definite chief aims since 2004, and in the process, I've developed an ability to go deeper and deeper in concentration. I can stay concentrated for hours, and everything else outside of my awareness fades away, except what it is that I'm putting my attention on. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. It might, it could. All things are possible. But the way I got here is through practice. Businessmen or artists or students in school, as well as spiritual seekers, must know the art of focusing all the power of attention upon a single point in order to succeed in their respective vocations. Concentration denotes, first, the withdrawal of the attention from objects of distraction, and then focusing of that recalled attention upon one thing at a time. So, we have the power to impress our imagination so we can automatically start to focus on what is related and harmonious and see the connections of how things are through changing meaning within, harmonious and related to bringing forth our definite chief aim, or what we desire to create. And we also have to look at coupling that with the ability to practice concentration. And then we can do this by purposefully choosing to keep our attention on what is related to what we desire to create. A good video to watch is the 7-Day Mental Diet by Emmett. The idea behind that video, which was very powerful, many of you have reported back to me, emailed me, and said that it had a huge impact on you. The premise is, if negative thoughts show up in your mind, that's okay. But when you start dwelling upon it, you are to catch yourself and release it. It's not the negative thought, because negative thoughts can show up many different ways all throughout the day. But it's the dwelling upon it that creates the impressing on the subconscious mind. So rather than dwelling upon it, we switch our attention through concentration, through practice, and this is an exercise, onto specific things, specific ideas, specific philosophies, information that is related to what we desire to create. Repetition. When the attention is freed from minor distractions, it may be redirected to act positively by focusing its rays on any kind of problem or upon God. You can focus back on your imagination, the desire, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the imaginal act. You can pull out the card from your pocket and read the definite chief aim. You could read your affirmations, but the key is this. At this stage, what we're talking about is training our ability to understand when our attention goes in a different direction, catch it, have that level of awareness, and consciously bring it back to, recalibrate it to our desire, what we want to create. Remember, it's not just about bringing it forth, it's also who you become in the journey. The mind, through repetition of doing this, becomes so altered that what you will experience is deep focus, a deep bliss. Reality will have a very minimal feel to it. It won't be so clouded with complexity. All that stuff will still exist in the external world, except you will have a heightened degree of clarity of mind. And so what will be within your awareness will be related, harmonious, and you'll be easily able to work with it to a higher degree because you're not confused by the excess noise that's there, except your attention is not on it. A great businessman, or a big social or spiritual reformer, is a man of keen concentration. By concentrated rays of his attention, developed unconsciously, he burns away and destroys the roots of every difficulty that comes before him, and thereby makes success of his undertakings. See, we're talking about developed unconsciously. How do you develop this unconsciously? Through repetition. Number one, by realizing that you can impress your subconscious mind, because most of reality is created by your subconscious mind via the imagination, by keeping your attention on the desire that you want to create, or what is related to what you want to create, your goal, your vision, and by practicing reorienting your attention. If it drifts away, when we talk about drifting, if it drifts away, catch it, understand it, realize that it's probably a desire within that wants to express itself. How can we transmute the desire? There's different ways of doing it, by changing the meaning. The truth is, you can change the meaning of any desire. Many think that the desires they have to be expressed in certain ways. This is not true. I've changed many desires within and made them related and harmonious to what I want to create. And they get expressed. See, because desires can't be suppressed, they will express. And if you don't change the meaning, they can express as distraction, express as lack of focus. But he could be an even greater success if he knew the art of conscious concentration, which would enable him to focus the burning power of attention upon the difficult problem, just as the sun's rays concentrated through a magnifying glass can ignite inflammable objects beneath it. So what we want is to develop unconscious ability to focus on what we desire based on what we discussed. Plus, we want to also practice conscious concentration, consciously turning off things that distract you, placing yourself in environments, and sitting there for an extended period of time to work on one thing at a time till completion. I believe in doing both. Intuition and superconsciousness are the same. Superconscious visions occur when the soul uses its intuition plus the energy accumulated in the brain to focus its thoughts upon certain actual experiences and then materializes them. See, what we want to do is understand that the desires come from the superconscious. The desires give you reason to live, adds meaning to your life, uncovers your unique greatness. We want to understand how we're expressing them. Are we expressing them in a harmonious way? Or are we expressing them in an inharmonious way? Inharmoniousness is meaning that we have assumed to be true that is stored in our subconscious mind. We can change this meaning around so our desires express harmoniously. What is the end result? Focus. Superconscious, subconscious, and the conscious mind are one. Superconscious being the universal mind, the source of desires. Yes, desires can be stimulated consciously and subconsciously, but they are stimulated and connected to the original desires. In other words, if you do not have a desire to do certain things, it cannot be stimulated by you in the external world. You just don't have the desire. But if the desire is within you, it could play out in some shape or form through external world experience, either harmonious or inharmonious. Now, it's not the desire that's the problem. It's the way it expresses if it's a problem. That desire can be transmuted so that it's expressed in a harmonious way. Attention is like a searchlight. When its beam is spread over a vast area, its power to focus on a particular object becomes weak, but focused on one thing at a time, it becomes powerful. So thus, we want to then practice focusing on one thing at a time till completion. We want to go big picture and dwell on what we want to create in our imagination, and then realize that information has impressed itself on the subconscious mind. It's materializing in reality, and put our attention on those pieces that are materializing through focused attention. That information impresses itself on the subconscious mind and creates more and more again till the totality of the vision is brought forth in reality. As the rays of the sun can be focused through a magnifying glass, causing intense heat that will kindle a fire, so can the rays of the attention be focused through a mind that is cleared of distractions. Remember, we talked about this. Most distractions are desires that are expressed inharmoniously. By changing the meaning of the desires, we are no longer in a place of distraction. Rather, we are expressing those desires, we're transmuting them towards the definite chief aim, to what we desire to create. A yogi may not possess much material substance, but through his ability to focus his mind, he learns to create at will what he needs. See? This is the power of the mind. Much can be taken away from you. Physical possessions, everything can be taken away from you. If you still have your mind and your ability to focus your mind, which you cultivate on this journey through repetition, you will get it all back. And even more, because a lot probably that was holding you down is things you're holding on to that you don't need, but it's just taking up space, physical space, emotional space, mental space. By having all that gone from the external world and having your mind fully cultivated or cultivated to a high degree, you're able to focus it and direct it towards a specific worthwhile ideal. And you don't have the distractions of the excess that you might assume to be holding on as some sort of value, but it's really not. Perhaps it comes from a place of fear. So you must gain wisdom as you strengthen your will. You must be wise enough to focus your mind upon good things while you are standing beneath the almighty wishing tree of your will, and to be careful that you do not concentrate upon fears, failures, diseases, ignorance, and lack of God communion. They might suddenly loom out of the unseen and cause you unending troubles. Remember, this was emphasized in the discussion we did on the 7-day mental diet. It's not so much the thoughts of fear, the inharmonious that show up, because we don't know a lot of times how they show up. Past materializations of what's in our subconscious mind, whatever means. But the key is to not dwell upon them, because once you dwell upon them, you impress them on the subconscious mind and they rematerialize again, again, and again. So through this process of taking inventory of what has been created by the external world, focusing on the desire that you want to create in your imagination, developing your ability to concentrate by choosing to focus on what is related that has brought forth, by changing the meaning and not dwelling upon or giving meaning of shame and guilt to the manifestation of lack of focus, but rather going in and understanding the meaning behind the desire and changing it, we develop unwavering focus. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.